Hey everyone, how are you? Let's try this again. We had a small break, like an hour and a half or so. I got to review the episode of Cold Justice again, and I was able to pull a bunch of better information for you. I spent the last hour doing that, and I'm going to show you a few interesting tidbits before we move on. One, I want to show you this photo of why is my microphone so hot? That's okay. So I want to show you this photo. This is a photo of her. Let me just pick up this. Hold on. I love this photo. I really, really like it. And this is Jeanette Johnson. And this is one of the photos they showed on the show. And I really like that one. I wanted to show that. It's a much nicer photo than what they put on the website. I think it's a great way to remember her. And there's a few others. Because when we spoke before, the show just ended like 2 minutes before we hopped on the live. And I forgot to take a bunch of photos for you. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. All right. This should show that. So I hopped on a little earlier so we could talk while I set this up. I thought that would be better than just letting you guys sit in the chat. So you guys can put up with me setting this up. And this one, I guess. All right. Okay, so this is what the house looked like back then. This is where she normally parked the car, right? So this is where the family's like, this is where we last saw her. This is where she normally parks it in this alleyway along the edge of the house. But in the morning, it wasn't here anymore. It was, let me pick up this other one. Where are you? It was on the front of the property, which they said she never parked there. She always parked in the side. That was like her car spot. So then it was there in the morning. Obviously, the person who abducted her and killed her using her own car dropped the car back on this edge here. They also left her keys in the car, and a cigarette was left in the ashtray that wasn't smoked. It was lit, but it hadn't been smoked. It just basically had turned to like an ash, like a pile of ash. Like if you've ever smoked and you leave a cigarette, it'll turn into like, it'll look like the cigarette, but it's just ash left. So you can see here, this is very odd. Hey, Phoenix Rising, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Diamond Heart. Hey, Kibby, Laura T, Maria, Danye, uh, Laura T, how are you? Marlene Clausen. So yeah, this is very interesting because if this is something that she's never done, this is of significance to the investigation. So as you should know, I have done Cold Justice for 2 years in a row now, and I've often got in trouble for showing graphic things from the TV show. So just be warned, we do talk about forensic details and bodies, bones, crime scenes, that type of thing. So just be warned. I'll give as much warning as I can, but they are coming up. So yeah, actually right now, I'm going to show you the way her remains were located. This is what they found in the shallow grave. This is it. This is all that was basically left of her after 2 months. That's all they were able to recover. These are what they call long bones. So long bones of the human, legs, arms, ribs, spine, that type of thing. And you can see it was already in a really bad state after they located it. And what's this one here? Yeah, so they were sort of found just in the wild, half in a shallow grave, half on top, like this. This is a photo from back at the original crime scene. You can sort of see some of the things sticking out on top. There was more buried underneath this. and obviously scavengers had moved stuff around over time. They did do some DNA testing, couldn't find anyone's DNA under her fingernails either. Here's that. So there's the fingernails. I can see they're in a very bad condition after being out in the wilderness for an extremely long time. No DNA found under those fingernails either. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, there you go. There's some more insight into the case we spoke about on the first part of the show. This was from the forensic doctor on the show. I'm going to show you this. So this is their like forensic sketch they use. Anywhere that you see black is bones that were not recovered. So these bones here on the left side were not recovered. It looks like a clavicle or like a collarbone up on the left, not recovered. Some spinal pieces not recovered. Couple of ribs not recovered, and then on the right side, half the arm not recovered, and all the tiny bits in the hands not recovered. The bit that's interesting is up here in the skull region. They said this area up here in the skull where it's black was fractured and missing and damaged. They believe this is from gunshot, that she was shot through the side of her skull, exit wound on the opposite side of the skull, and that is what caused this puncture hole wound in her skull on that side. On you can see on that left image, and they're saying that this was evidence of possibly being shot while she wasn't really watching or looking. Maybe like she was turning, and then the guys draw a gun, and because most people would shoot into the front of the person, not really into the side, especially if it's a confrontation or something like that. Hey Mel Mac, how are you? Good to see you. They found quite a few, although they were missing maybe, you know, 20%, maybe a little bit higher than that. So a little bit. They were missing a little bit. So yeah, I wanted to add these details to show you a little bit more about what happened. What's this one? This one sort of shows you an overall view of when she was found. There you go. There's the shallow grave on the far left, and that's you guys can kind of see. It's not very graphic. It's very old, very degraded photos from the 80s. I don't think it's that shocking or anything. I think we've seen far worse in true crime. All right. Now I want to show you some distances between the two places in this, and then I'll go back over and I'll explain some of the finer details too. All right, that's that one. And where's this one? Okay. All right, not that one. Let's go here. Okay. So as you can see, this is Lionel's home. This is Lionel, the suspect they think killed Jeanette. And I was telling you in the first show, he only lived down the road. And you can see on this photo, he does. He only lives like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks down the road. Not all that far, and it's a straight run. You can see he could have even walked this. He could have walked from his home, been milling around outside Janet's home, waited for her to get home from being out at that party, somehow got her into her vehicle, and then abducted her, drove her from her house all the way out to the death location, which is out on this right side, on the right side of this image. That's where her remains were found. The left side is the starting point where her house is. So then he drove her all the way out here, quite a distance, quite a distance. It's not close. And then she was murdered at this site. Her remains partially buried and left there. She wasn't identified for another 3 decades. They found the remains 2 months later after the event. So, you know, they were pretty quick to find her. Took a long time to identify actually who she was, who those remains belonged to. So I hope this is giving a bit more context to what we talked about earlier. Okay, so this gives us a bit more context as well. What happened that night? Yeah. So this is Catherine Pineri. She's the forensic pathologist. Really great lady. I love seeing her on Cold Justice. Really, really interesting lady. So it says background. So last known alive, August 2nd, 1985, leaving the Party House Lounge. That's where she was that night. Reported missing August 5th, 1985. Skeletal remains found by hunters on November 24th, 1985, in a cornfield. Uh, Surface is skull partial without maxilla or mandible. Shallow grave, ribs, long bones, not lung bones. I don't know how many people have lung bones. It says long bones, right hand with soft tissue still attached. Plastic garbage bag, sweater with hairs were found uh, within the buried part of her remains, not with the part that was on top. They don't know if these are related or not, or they're just trash that wound up there in 2 months. It says additional search on November 25th or 26th, 1985, with sifting of grave soil found more vertebra, gold necklace, and a fingernail. Yeah, there was also some, some flies, unfortunately, that had laid eggs on her remains, which is horrible. And I want to show you this. Let's see. No. So they found this, I think, within the grave too. I'll show you. Two Caucasian head hairs light in color, one Caucasian head hair brown in color. A portion of this hair shows that it had been burned. Four Caucasian body hairs, three animal hairs, various colors and types of fibers recovered. It was a bit weird. They didn't know if that was connected again, if it was just there. They don't think they ever found anything conclusive with that. And then I'm going to show you a photo of the both of them. This is Lionel. This is Jeanette. So I thought that was a good one to show. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch you guys up on this because I felt like the first show had lacked information and context. So I'm trying to give that to you now. And I wanted to show you this. This is where you see her daughter at the beginning, and she's standing over the gravesite of her mum. This is her headstone, and you can see there that has that photo of her smiling, and Jeanette Johnson. It's a beautiful headstone, and that's where we saw that original photo in the first half of the show we did earlier, and we were like, "Oh, is that the place where they found the remains, or is that the gravesite?" Yeah, it's where she's buried. This is where the family goes to remember her. Yes, Kelly Siegler. Yes, this is tonight's episode, season 7, episode 3. Yeah, tonight was a very sad episode. Marlon Clausen says, yes, it's on every Saturday night. Sometimes they solve them, other times no. Tonight is not a great episode. They unfortunately couldn't pass the, you know, without a doubt type threshold, unfortunately. Not at this time. And unfortunately, there will be no justice for Jeanette Johnson at this time. They they tried, they just don't have enough to connect Lionel to the murders at this point. There was also some weird stuff too. I'll show you if I can find it. Where is this thing about the car? Lionel and the family also reported seeing a car, and It's odd that Lionel and the family both reported it. Where is it? I did take a photo of it. Yeah, here. Saw a blue Granada circling the block. It's interesting. This is when they went to search near the field. I think it was near the field where they found her body, and that apparently a blue Granada. I was this. Wait, I might have got confused for a second. They were searching somewhere for Jeanette, and then a blue Granada kept circling around the block and following them, which is odd because Lionel, on the right here, reported the night when Jeanette went missing that he reported a blue car that pulled into like around where she was last seen, and he witnessed this blue car as well. And it's just odd that the family, when they went searching for her, also had a blue car following them, and they don't know what that's about, but this is one of these other leads that they were unable to completely flesh out. So Laura Thomas says, hopefully someone will come out and say something now. With such a national TV show, you would hope so. You would hope that if someone heard or was on, maybe it was on the road, if someone was on the road between, where's my map? If someone was on the road between here and here in those early hour morning, maybe someone saw them in the car together. That person would go a long way to solving that case. Actually, I'm going to put that out there. Let's get our dates right. Where is it? Yeah, we got to find it. Okay. August 2nd, 1985. August 2nd or August 3rd. Well, no, I think it's August 2nd overnight. If anyone on August 2nd was on this area and knows or saw anything about these two people in the same car together in the early hours of the morning, you have to call it in. Even if you think it means nothing, you might be the person who can tie this case together. Yeah, Johnson was reported missing from Kankakee on the evening of August 3rd, 1985. She was last seen the prior evening when family members saw her parking her vehicle at the rear of the house. So yes, August 2nd, 1985. I know it's a long time ago, but maybe you just saw something and thought it was, oh, I don't know anything about that. Just two people in a car. Well, now it does mean something. So if you saw Jeanette Johnson, and whoever else might be in the car with her, we don't know if it's Lionel, maybe it's someone else. Call it in. Call it into the local police department. What's their number? The Kankakee Police Department. What is their number? The Kankakee Police Department is 815-933-3321. Give them a call. Tell them what you know. Or you can, I guess you could email Kankakee County Sheriff. They have an email on their website, kangakeecountysheriff.com. But I'd go through the police department rather than the sheriff. That's my opinion anyway. I'd probably go through the police department. Yeah, so if you know anything, you're from that area, let us know. Hey, Juicy Jules. Yeah, that's true. Phoenix Rising says, I've been able to catch a few of the prosecuting evil with Kelly Siegler. It's also quite interesting. I gotta admit, I wasn't a fan of prosecuting evil. It's not my thing. There was a couple of good episodes, and I watch it because I sort of like Kelly, but I know Kelly has a real divisive reputation, especially in Texas. There's a lot of people who don't like her and don't like the way she did her court cases when she was a prosecutor. So I get it. I didn't really enjoy that. I just prefer the cold case solving and helping people. I didn't it was alright. There was a couple of good episodes in that, series, but I don't really care if they make a second season or not. I think their more important work is with Cold Justice. I think that's, better money better money spent. Okay, here we go. This is a bit better of that map, I'll show you. So there you go. So that's where her remains were found, and the start point is her home. Alright. I hope that gives you a bit more background to the case from earlier. I just wanted to do that for you. Didn't want to leave people hanging with like no information. Let's see. Where is her daughter? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Okay, share this one. Yeah, see the photo I showed you before of that grave marker? That's that one there. The same one that she's. So I've been sitting here trying to pronounce her last name. It's I'm gonna pronounce it wrong now, aren't I? It's Joretha. There you go. Hope that's correct. I want to give her the respect she deserves. And she was great in the episode. But like she says at the end of that show, it's no longer her, it's no longer hers to carry. The cops have to do it. She's carried it for 30 years or more of her life, and she has to go live her life now. If there's just not enough evidence to help put someone behind bars at this time, she can't pause her life forever to try and find her mum's killer. She has to also not waste her life. Because, what happens is a killer takes someone's family member like that, and it doesn't just take away someone's life, the victim. These people, like the children, become victims too because they spend a lot of their own life chasing the killer if they're not known and it takes away from their own ambitions or their own life development. So it doesn't hurt just one person, it hurts many people, especially when you get a case like this where it's not bungled. I wouldn't say it's been bungled, but I would say, man, they've had some barriers to work with, like having the remains in storage for 30 years plus years and not be able to identify who it was. The daughter thought that her mum had run away from home, and she put public appeals out telling mum, come home, we miss you, we love you. So for a long time, she thought her mum was just didn't want to be home. And then to find out only like, what, 18 months ago that her mum was in a county evidence morgue locker for 3.5 decades, and no one knew she was there. I can't imagine how that feels for her daughter. I really can't. Hey guys, how are you? Good to see you all. Hey, glad you can make it to the late show. Phoenix Rising says, I agree. Cold Justice is much better. To be fair, I only saw 2 or 3 episodes of Prosecuting Evil. She can be quite abrasive. Yeah, she can be. Yeah, and I believe she has been a little robbed of some of her future because she's been chasing this for a long time. Oh, before we finish and we move on to our next stories, I want to show you the post that started it all from her daughter, from Joretha. I want to show you. Where is her post? She put a post on Facebook that made the sheriffs, the police, come and help on the investigation and Cold Justice by extension. Where is it? This one, maybe? Here, here's Joretha there. She says, I don't know how to read this properly. She says, Speak to my heart, Lord. You are the only one I can hear from you. I won't know what to do. Speak to my heart." She said, "My mother, uh, 3rd of the 8th, 85, missing, and then found 25th of the 11th, 2020, found murdered." And she was actually found in November 85. But yeah, she wrote this post about her mom, and this is what got the police department involved. She goes, "Dedicated the police department and the law enforcement went out to give those families closure, whether it was good or bad news. Where is the closure for me and my family? What, by it being 30 years later, that we, her family and friends and loved ones, supposed to treat her case missing person unsolved non-existence, just another black person missing in Kankakee, Illinois. Well, she is still a big part of our life, whether she mean anything to anyone else. She has grown children now, grandchildren, a mother that would love to have closure before God call her home to glory. So sad to see, read, and hear about anyone else missing. Hurts my heart. And what does she say here? I always send a prayer up for that family, receive some type of closure." So she called out the police department basically saying, "You don't give a shit about our family. And, my mom's been lying in an evidence locker for 30 years, and you guys haven't done anything to try find the killer of my mom and or even identify her. Like, why was she sitting in cold storage for 30 years?" Like, yeah, she was quite mad about it, quite upset. And this was the post that started it all. Got the sheriff to put a detective on the case, and got cold justice involved with it too. So well done to her for taking the lead to find her mum. Yeah, 10:30 tomorrow night. 10:30? 10:30? 10:30? I think so. I think so. I'll hold on. See, there we go. What time are we gonna be back tomorrow? We're gonna be back, yeah, 10 p.m. Yeah, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Wow, guys, you guys are getting me confused with time zones now. Yes, 10 p.m. because of America is going on to daylight savings time. So the time for me actually moves back by 1 hour. So if we went at 9 o'clock, it would actually be at midday down here. And then in a few weeks, Australia goes off daylight savings, and then the time moves back again by an hour, and our normal show time of 9 p.m. would actually be 11 a.m. in the morning instead of 1 p.m. in the afternoon. It shifts by 2 hours during the next 4 weeks. So quite difficult. Hey, Phoenix, right? Phoenix says, "In my opinion, the most harm is for people left behind. I believe we go to a better place, real home, when we leave this body. Sad that plans are cut short, but enduring pain is on those who must carry on." It's a good way of looking at it. Hey, Marlene, what's wrong? Yeah, I feel so sad um for her. She can tell the pain she's in, and the detective said at the end of the episode he's not going to give up. He just needs help from people in the community that were around at the time. He needs that person who lived on that street, that person who walked their dog in the morning and saw something. There's got to be that person who saw them both in that car. That person needs to come forward. If that person can come forward, they will be able to fix it. They'll be able to get to trial. They will be able to hold someone responsible. But we need a brave person to come forward and tell what they know. Hey Jojo, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, there we go. Cold justice. I think we wrapped that up really nicely. I want to show you something interesting that's been happening down here in Australia. All right. Pitch, music, and arts. What is pitch, music, and arts? Well, it's a bush rave. It's a doof doof. Uh, the problem is it's a massive heat wave down here at the moment. Currently 37 degrees down here. 37. And I think it's even hotter out there. It's 104, 100.4 Fahrenheit, more like 104 out where these people are. And they only just cancelled it, but the kids have been out at this rave since Friday. Some of them have been started coming in yesterday, Saturday morning, but their messaging had been so poor. They'd been telling people, well, the country fire has been telling us that you guys should all leave in the morning and don't come here. But hey, we're going to leave the rave open. And if you want to stay and rave on for the weekend, you can do that if you want to. And basically, they kept giving out these mixed messages. And they had all these parents in the comments worried um, for days, just sending all these messages how they couldn't get in touch with their kids. And people not and didn't end up going, so they wasted their ticket. They want a refund, and then people started writing funny posts, and I'll show you one. Yeah, like this person here says, "If anyone sees our daughter Sky, say hi from us and all the hysterical mums in Sydney. She can be identified by what's called a doof stick. I originally thought this was something you fix a road with, but apparently not. She may not respond to her name, as by this stage she has probably forgotten it. So if you see someone holding a stick with Dory or Bob the Builder's face on it, say hi from us." And people saying funny things about that's just like a people are making fun of the post by the by the mums. But there's real danger out there. They're in this little valley. If a fire was to take hold today with all the wind, they would be in a huge amount of danger. There is no fire out there right now, but yeah, see? The CFA have advised the Bureau of Meteorology have forecast an extreme fire danger rating for the Southwest Weather District for Saturday, 9th of March 2024. This includes the site for Pitch Music and Arts Festival. CFA has declared a total fire ban for the area. The CFA recommends the safest option is for those who are already on site is to leave the site by tonight or early in the morning. And then they go on and say, if you are arriving on Saturday, we recommend delaying your arrival until further notice. And then they said something like, but if you make it here, we're still going to have fun and, you know, we're going to have drinks and cold water. And so a bit of mixed messaging from the people at Pitch. But apparently, about an hour ago, they actually canceled the rest of the event. It was supposed to go until Monday. It says, "Dear people of Pitch, through consultation with authorities, we have been directed to cancel the remainder of the Pitch Music and Arts Festival 2024 in light of an updated extreme fire danger warning issued this afternoon for tomorrow, Monday, March 11. We have consistently followed guidance and whatever. We actually heard that apparently they were trying to wait until they were forced to cancel so that they could claim the insurance money. Because if they canceled it on their own, there's no insurance money. So, yes, we did actually mention Iris Crom the other day. So I normally set up the next show, what do you call it? Like to like the chat thing that pops up, normally about an hour before the show. So have a look on this page about 9 p.m. tomorrow, 8 p.m. tomorrow. It is a bit interesting. All right. So I thought I'd bring you that and just show you that this is like everybody's been watching this on like social media for the last 24 hours, and there's like little comments and interesting discussions on Twitter. Let's talk about Sebatian Rogers. I want to talk about Sebatian. What has happened in the last 24 hours with Sebatian? Not much. Not a whole lot, but we're going to watch a little update about him. Hold on. From WKRN News.
Sumner County Sheriff says the landfill search in the Sebatian Rogers case turned up nothing. Sebatian has been missing for 11 days now. The 15-year-old has autism, and investigators say he does not have his medication with him. News 2's Adam Mintzer looks at what has law enforcement learned, and after searching the highs and lows all across state lines.
15-year-old Sebatian Rogers must be somewhere.
We're doing everything we can. Every lead that we get, we're following.
Now, after a week and a half, Sumner Sheriff Sonny Weatherford put out a statement saying, while we had hoped for a different outcome, our commitment to finding Sebatian remains unwavering. The sheriff's office began the search on Monday, February 26th.
I couldn't recall off the top of my head when the last search like this was.
Starting with a 2, then 5-mile radius search in the Shackle Island area. Law enforcement then expanded the radius exponentially. According to Sumner County officials, crews searched more than 2,000 miles on foot, went through Sebatian's home about 10 times, and deployed drones, helicopters, horses, search dogs, and dive teams.
We absolutely obliterated covering the area where Sebatian could have walked off to.
Chief Deputy Craddock repeating to reporters,
We're operating under the assumption that Sebatian walked off. We have no evidence to disprove that. The family's been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement in our investigation.
TBI released a statement on the family's behalf, responding to comments online wondering why the family hasn't said much publicly. We have been requested by the family to let local media know that they are not in a position to speak to or be available to the media at this time. After that statement, the parents spoke, telling a podcast host Sebatian doesn't have his phone with him, hasn't been talking to anyone online, and doesn't have social media.
A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
And you did tell me that Sebatian is not a runner.
He's not.
Then on day 8 of the search, Sumner County said it was time to scale back.
Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebatian.
Suddenly, the case moved north to a landfill in Hopkins County, Kentucky. The Sumner sheriff says that's where the trash for Sebatian's neighborhood ends up. And the person who picked up the trash the morning Sebatian went missing told them where he dropped off that load. While they said the search was precautionary, nothing came from it. Another dead end and a search entering its second week. In Nashville, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
Very sad about Sebatian that the search in the tip didn't pick up anything, and still almost 2 weeks now, no one has seen him. Nothing. I mean, where do we go from here? I don't know. Keep investigating until you do find something. I reckon that's probably it. Other than that, it's hard to know without any leads, right? Let's see, I'll show you. It says Kentucky police looking for missing autistic teen Sebatian Rogers search landfill. They didn't find anything though. Kentucky officials have been unable to find any evidence after searching a landfill to locate autistic teen Sebatian Rogers, who went missing over a week ago. Yep. Here's a photo of him. There's that landfill. Look at that. Needle in a haystack search. And you can see the type of terrain that they were looking for in the beach area. Look at that. That would be so hard. And there's that site, the landfill dig. So where did a little boy, a 15-year-old boy, just disappear to? I mean, a kid who apparently hates being dirty, doesn't like bugs, and apparently doesn't know how to make his own way home, or travel anywhere because he only knows the places he can memorize. It's very frustrating. I can't imagine what it's like for the people who, you know, yeah, it- he's got to be somewhere, right? Kids don't just disappear into thin air, and UFOs don't just pick up autistic teens from their home. There's a photo of him. Up until this point, I don't know where we go unless some big news happens first thing Monday morning in 2 days' time. You know, a lot of people pointing fingers at his family. I've seen that a lot. But that's what happens when you end up in a vacuum, an information vacuum. People just start throwing everything out there because they're not getting the information to keep them, occupied. They start just coming up with every theory under the sun. But there are a lot of things about Sebastian's case that doesn't make any sense. A lot of contradictory statements as well. He doesn't like being dirty, doesn't like outdoors, but hey, he ran out of the home with no shoes on, didn't take anything for protection. Oh, they're those little grey dogs? Those little grey doggies we see? There's a photo of him with the 2 dogs. And yeah, here. And this is when he's much younger, you can tell. He's only like 9 or 10 in this photo, maybe? Something like that. And look, you got the little puppy dogs here. Little, like, Yorkie Terriers or something. I don't know what they are. But there you go. There's 2 puppies. We always thought, are they his or... Oh, what ended up... I don't even remember what happened with that in the end. Did they end up finding that boy? I seem to be having a bit of a mental blank. What happened with that? I remember when he went missing and there was some abuse claims or something like that. Someone put in the chat, what ended up happening to that kid? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do everything in Eastern time, American Eastern time, to make it easier for people. Oh, I have to look it up. Scott, what was his name? Scotty. Scotty Morris. That's right. What ended up happening to that little guy? He was found safe after 8 days missing. Teen Scotty Morris found safe after running away. I'd run away too if you made me wear that t-shirt. Taken to local hospital before being placed in a safe environment. There was definitely some sort of like familial abuse or something going on in that situation. It says missing teenager Scotty Morris has been found safe in Indiana after vanishing 10 days ago from his family home, wearing a white t-shirt with disparaging writing scrawled on it that branded him a liar. The 14-year-old was discovered by police officers about 11 p.m. on Friday night wandering the streets of a town in Eaton. The child was taken to a local hospital to be evaluated. Police said that interviews are being carried out regarding the disappearance and that his family is cooperating. Oh, that's good news. Do you guys know? Do you guys know what happened to? And I don't know why I'm asking you. I should be the one who knows. But there was a case recently of a missing girl who was with a guy, and they said that they ran away, and there was 2 types of parents, and the boyfriend of the girl was accusing the dad of abuse or something. I mean, Gambler might know if he's here. Is Gambler here? Gambler, do you remember that one? I think you told me about it. It was like they were missing from some like local high school, and the dad was like really aggressive in the media, and they were thought to be in some sort of car traveling to California, maybe. Maybe Gambler remembers the story I'm talking about. Let's see if he knows. Let's see if he knows. Let's see if he remembers that we changed his coffee out for Folger's Crystals. He doesn't ring a bell? Let me see if I can find it. Teen. No, it doesn't. Is it these two? Caitlin Nutting and Dylan Eddie Crump. These the ones? Teens were found late Thursday in Eugene, Oregon. Dylan Batty, Caitlin Nutting, and Vincent Eddie Crump. I don't know if that's the right one, but there was one where it was like a boy and a girl, and the dad, I think the boyfriend accused the dad of being abusive towards the girl or something, and they'd run away and they were traveling to different family members that were in California. It was a real mess. I can't remember. I just didn't know if there was a solution to it. Ah, she went home. Okay. Thanks, Jojo. The boyfriend lived with them. Yeah, that's right. Phoenix Rising saying, after we learned about her, I think Scotty's parents were taking parenting advice from Jodie Hildebrandt, parenting coach. Oh, jeez. Jojo, if you know that link or if you know the name of the girl, let me know so I can find it. I want to talk to you about this. I saw this pop up. Horrible situation. Man was playing with gun when teen was shot, killed in Bradenton, Florida. A man has been charged with manslaughter on Friday after an 18-year-old was shot and killed in Bradenton last week. According to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, deputies say Reginald Field died at a local hospital after being shot while inside a parked car on March 1st. According to officials, the shooting happened in the 5300 block of 5th Street East around 6:30 p.m. The sheriff's office says Fields had already been taken to hospital before law enforcement arrived at the scene. Jabari Burney, according to authorities, Field died from his injuries shortly before 7 p.m. Witnesses told investigators that Field was inside a parked vehicle with other people when a handgun went off. After an extensive investigation, detectives say 18-year-old Jabari Burney was charged with manslaughter. Investigators say Burney was playing with a handgun when the weapon fired and caused Fields fatal injuries. According to deputies, the case is still being investigated. Wow, killed his friend in a closed environment. Jeez, how horrible. And they at least are going to charge him with manslaughter. The other one we didn't get to the other day was this. And I thought that was crazy. I thought it was a typo. It says human trafficking bust teacher coaches among 228 arrested in Polk County. And of course, who's in Polk County? It's everyone but the locals' favorite sheriff. Yeah, it's everyone but the local people's favorite sheriff, Grady Judd. Says Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says there was 150 suspects arrested for soliciting a prostitute and traveling to the undercover location to negotiate to have sex in exchange for money. 12 other suspects were arrested, and as of those, 8 were either deriving proceeds from prostitution or taking prostitutes to the undercover location. Judd said 42 of the 228 arrested are from Polk County. Those of you from Polk County know better. We talk about this, we don't hide it. If you don't know about it, you obviously live under a rock. You had to learn the hard way, but for the rest of you, pay attention. This is not the last operation. We'll have more and we'll give you the opportunity to be arrested if you are stupid enough to show up. He is a funny guy. I know locals are not a huge fan of, Grady Judd. Look at this, seeking a prostitute. All these men were seeking. Is prostitution illegal in Florida? It's interesting. All these guys. Hold on, let me see. Oh. Apparently, Florida set criminal charges for a number of offenses related to prostitution. It is unlawful to participate in prostitution itself. The state also prohibits assignations, which are meetings or appointments arranged for the purpose of prostitution. Okay, wow. Florida prostitution laws prohibit anyone from soliciting sex from individuals, whether you are trying to use sex work to make money, pay for sex, or are the middleman for prostitution. You can face serious criminal charges that will negatively impact your life. Okay, so apparently Florida is very strict. Was she a smoker? Yeah, the lady we were talking about earlier, she was a smoker. Yes, she was. Hey, this account, good to see you. Hey, Evil Alaska. Evil Alaska says, imagine how many other victims that are sitting in storage right now, never ID, never given justice. I heard that apparently in LA, there's something like thousands of bodies sitting in storage, sitting in the freezers in LA, you know, without identification. Apparently, it's been like that for a while, and they're desperately trying to reduce that number and get those people back to their families and buried. It's really bad. Hold on. Hey, Mamma Mia. How are you? Yeah, the lady in the car, the smoke that was left in the car, yes, it was hers. Wasn't from the killer. Hey, Kathy, how are you? How did you not catch us live? We've already done like 2 shows. Where have you been? Where have you been tonight? All right. That is a lot of people to catch for prostitution. Judge says of the 66 suspected prostitutes that were arrested, 13 are possible human trafficking victims. He said, in 1 year, we have identified 58 potential victims of human trafficking in 1 year with these operations. What's significant about that? That's the most we've been able to ever identify. He went on to state that the reason so many victims were able to include counselors in the operation from the beginning. One man arrested said he was a volleyball coach from New York who tutored middle school students. According to Judd, the suspect said he wanted to pay $150 to have sex with a woman. He was also arrested last month in Hillsborough County for the same thing. You guys are a bit weird in America. Here in Australia, you can go and pay a girl at a brothel money and go have sex if you want to. It's a weird thing. But in like Nevada, you guys have like the Bunny Ranch where there's an entire ranch full of nude girls that you can go have sex with if you want. Probably pick up a venereal disease, but pluses and minuses. Pluses and minuses. It says another suspect told detectives he was a certified triathlon coach and an athlete. I mean, I guess if they were victims of human trafficking and that by using them, it keeps them enslaved in human trafficking, yes, that's a bad thing, right? But these guys who may be just seeing an actual sex worker that wants to be a sex worker, I don't really agree with charging them with a crime. Sorry, that's just my personal belief. He came to have sex. He called it a quick visit for 60. Well, since he's able to teach math, he can figure out that it didn't add up this time. Judd, your jokes are a bit flat today. Yeah, some of these guys deserve it, especially if they were visiting people that were in the human trafficking, but the others, I think you could just let them go. I think those numbers just look really big because of the demand. There's obviously a demand for it, right? Never knew that they had such strict laws in that county. Cassie Lynch says, I was watching old movies. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you had a great time. All right, let's try and get to another story. If we can. Where is it? All right. Says here, bring her home. Samantha Murphy's family heartbreakers. Please continue search for her body.
Detectives from the Missing Persons Squad arrested a 22-year-old Scottsburn man. As a result of those investigations, he has today been charged with the murder of Samantha. We're saying this was a deliberate attack on Samantha.
There you go. That was the sheriff the other day. The man accused of murdering Samantha Murphy is refusing to cooperate with police as the search for her body continues. Yeah, that. I wonder why he's refusing. And there's calls in the media that we should enact the no body, no parole laws in Victoria. And I think Victoria is one of the states that doesn't have it. Let me see. Okay, here. They're saying here, advocates for the families of homicide victims have renewed calls for tougher laws for killers who refuse to lead police to their victims' bodies. They say Victoria's no body, no parole law should be strengthened to no body, no release. These reforms would extend current laws which can refuse parole to convicted murderers who don't disclose where their victims' bodies are hidden. Government sources said tougher action was not currently on the agenda, but the idea had been privately raised by some MPs. The mother of murder victim Elizabeth Membray, whose body has never been recovered, said tougher laws were vital. Jo Membray said she had spent almost 30 years searching for answers after her 22-year-old daughter vanished on December 6, 1994, after returning home from work. Miss Membray told the Herald Sun cases like Samantha Murphy's gave her goosebumps and reminded her of the years of torment her and her late husband Roger have faced. The not knowing is really, really cruel, she said. Here's a photo of Joy Membray, whose daughter has never been recovered. The Murphy family desperately need closure to find the mother's body and put her to rest and have a place where you can go and put flowers, she said. Police are yet to find Samantha Murphy's body, and Chief Commissioner Shane Patton said on Friday Patrick Stephenson has not disclosed where Samantha's body is. Stephenson is yet to enter a plea over Miss Murphy's murder and is presumed innocent. Miss Membray said the government, while sympathetic, had put the no body, no parole, no body, no release laws in the too hard basket. Human beings or any other living animal deserve dignity, and that dignity has been taken away completely, she said. Former MP Tanya Maxwell, who led a 2022 campaign for the laws to be introduced, said they were now absolutely overdue. If you don't release information as to where that body is, why should you ever be expected to be released from prison, she said. Crossbench Shooters, Farmers, Fishers MP Jeff Bourneman also backed the idea. If there's strong enough evidence to convict someone beyond a reasonable doubt, then it becomes incumbent on the offender to divulge what information they have, should they expect any leniency at all. Animal Justice Party MP Georgie Purcell said she supported the push in principle but needed more advice. While the idea makes sense, I would need to consult the legal expert community before forming a concrete opinion. Government Minister Vicky Ward conceded there was always more improvements that could be made across the sector, but she said any specific legislative changes are a matter for the Attorney General. There you go. So in Victoria, we have no body, no parole, but they want it to be no body, no release. So it means you could never get released if you don't give up the body. Is that what it was, Phoenix Rising? Phoenix Rising says, when you were asking about the teen couple, were you meaning that girl that her mom and her boyfriend was supposedly looking for her, but it turned out to be a play? I don't know if it was that one. I just remember that there was two families, and then there was these kids who ran away from their high school, and then they were driving across country in a car, and then there was like a tit for tat battle with the boyfriend and the father of the girl. The boyfriend said like, "Oh, you abused the girl," and all this stuff, and then he said, "Oh, that little punk is like a little shit and stuff," and he was saying like, "Oh, he's manipulating my daughter," and it was a weird situation. I just never know. I don't remember if it ever got a resolution. Laura T says, "Really, it sounds like a good law to have. They could have brought so many home." Well, yeah, we do still have the no body, no parole, but no, we don't have the no body, no release. Marlon Clausen said, "Is weed legal?" No, weed is an offense down here, although you can get medical marijuana down here. You can get it, but it's very difficult to get. It's a pain in the butt, and it's expensive. It's not cheap. It's I think you pay like $100 for $100 for 10 grams, $10 a gram, something like that. Can't fully remember, but it's not like going to your local dealer and buying a $70 worth. All right. Let me see if I have any new information. Oh, right. Yes, I do have another story. This one was the other one I was trying to find earlier. Listen to this. This story is crazy. Joanne Perry stabbed to death by her own daughter, who was shot dead by police in Lower Plenty in Melbourne the other day. So apparently, let me read the story, then I'll tell you what I know. A woman has been identified after she was stabbed to death by her daughter, who reportedly tried to set her on fire. Joanne Perry, 53, died on Friday evening after she was stabbed multiple times in the neck and chest. Officers were called to Kett Street in Lower Plenty about 6:30 p.m. on Friday following reports a 26-year-old woman was trying to set her mother on fire. Upon arrival, officers reported they were challenged by the younger woman, who was armed with a knife. Despite being told to drop the weapon, the 26-year-old continued to plunge the knife into her mother's torso and neck. She was shot by police and died at the scene. At the time, the 26-year-old was on bail for an unrelated matter and was the subject of an apprehended violence order. Victorian Police Acting Superintendent Scott Colson said the officers were left no other choice than to discharge his firearm. It's a terrible situation. They don't go to work expecting to draw their firearms and be involved in these sort of tragedies. Superintendent Scott Colson said he was comfortable with the officers' actions when confronted with the horrible situation. Police were confronted with the daughter stabbing the mother and have called on the daughter to drop the knife. However, she continued to stab the mother tragically. Both the mother and the daughter died on the scene. Neighbors told the Herald Sun they heard multiple gunshots during the incident on the usually tranquil street. It's understood other people were inside the home at the time of the fatal attack, but the 000 call came from neighbors. In a statement, Victoria Police said they were not looking for anyone else in relation to the incident. Homicide Squad detectives will investigate the incident with oversight from the Professional Standards Command, which is a standard protocol when a police firearm is discharged. Miss Perry is the 17th woman killed in Australia this year and the 4th to be slain this month. According to Australian Femicide Watch, there have been 2 femicides a week since the year began. Yeah, this was brutal. Apparently, the police looked over the fence and saw the young 26-year-old woman still stabbing her mum in the head and neck and chest, like psycho killer type, you know, stuff you see in the movies. They commanded her to drop the weapon. She refused, and she moved the knife apparently, and police discharged one bullet, killing her. So the mum and the daughter are now gone, unfortunately. His game does not connect to internet. The parents said they have it blocked, that he cannot get online. Hmm? Are you talking about Sebatian Rogers? Was there an update that I missed? No, he was not found in a... Really? I would have thought that would have been everywhere. I thought if Sebatian Rogers was found in a chimney, my God, it would have been just everywhere. I know there was an Ohio boy that was found in a chimney a while ago, like a month or two ago. Oh, remember the young teen who was found across the street in the chimney said, yeah, was that the one where it was an abandoned house? The house, he was on his way to school, but the house was abandoned, and they found him trapped in the chimney, but he was like on the third floor or something, and they found stuff in that room, like his shoes and stuff, like he'd been in there mucking around or something. I remember that one. Please look into the Jalecki Rayton Walker. It's a cold case now. I'll have a look. Harley Dilly. Is that the one? Is that the one we're thinking of? Harley Dilly? Let me have a look. Is that the one in the abandoned house, or is we talking about two different ones?
Now, the heartbreaking discovery in the search for a missing son in Ohio. Police finding the body of a 14-year-old boy trapped inside the chimney of the home right across the street. Here's Alex Perez.
Tonight, a tragic outcome for this Ohio community that spent weeks looking for 14-year-old Harley Dilly.
I promised myself not to break down today.
Emotional investigators announcing they discovered the teenager's remains inside the 9 by 13-inch chimney of this vacant home just across the street from his home. Authorities say he climbed this antenna tower and tried going down the chimney.
The chimney was blocked between the second and first floor, which trapped Harley.
Dilly disappeared from Port Clinton, Ohio, back on December 20th. This surveillance image of him crossing the street was the last time he was seen. Authorities had actually searched the outside of that vacant home where his body was discovered several times before, but because there were no signs of forced entry, they had not gone inside until Monday evening when they decided to take a closer look.
It's not the outcome we wanted.
David, it's unclear why the boy entered the chimney, but authorities say they believe this was accidental and they do not suspect foul play. David?
Just awful, Alex. Thank you.
Gambler says, Ping, I mentioned this last night. I don't think you saw it. Did you hear of the trial of Robin Howington? Her son supposedly got a hold of a gun and shot and killed his 5-year-old sister. There's been a few of those type of cases where a sibling has shot one of the other children. I just don't know if that's the one I know. Hold on. Howington. Robin Howington. Let's see. WBIR.
We have new details tonight after a Fountain City mother testifies about the killing of her 5-year-old daughter. Robin Howington took the stand earlier today, giving the latest of many versions about how 5-year-old Destiny Oliver died in September 2019. Reporter Krista Lucas brings an update on day 4 of this trial.
Robin Howington, the mother accused of felony murder in the killing of her daughter, testifies how a day at Chuck E. Cheese and park fun turned fatal. When the family got home, she said she took her kids inside and went out for a cigarette and to move her car.
I was walking up to my house, and it's a glass door, and I seen a flash of light go off.
She walked inside and found her 2-year-old crying and screaming. Destiny on the couch and the gun on the floor.
I got the gun and I took it outside.
Why did you take it outside?
Because I didn't want it to cause any more harm.
Many, many lies followed as police tried to get the truth from her about what happened.
Because I knew that that was the gun that used to shoot Destiny, and I was trying to protect him.
She said she never thought she would be facing a murder charge.
Because I didn't have anything to do with the shooting of my daughter.
That was Krista Lucas reporting. Prosecutors are down to their final witnesses now. The judge hopes to hand that case to the jury tomorrow.
Well, the weekend's about.
There you go. Bit of the trial or testimony. Says a Knox County jury spared have found a mum a murder conviction Friday in the 2019 death of her 5-year-old child shot to death at close range as she lay on the couch of her home watching Netflix. Deliberating a short 2 hours, the panel convicted Robin Howington, 41, of reckless homicide rather than felony murder. Howington testified that her 2-year-old son fired the shot that killed daughter Destiny Oliver the night of September 14, 2019. If she'd been found guilty of felony murder, Howington faced a life sentence. Instead, she's looking at likely 2 to 4 years in prison on the homicide count. But that's not all Howington is guilty of. Jurors also convicted her of 2 counts of aggravated child neglect, as well as making a false report, tampering with evidence, and attempting to tamper with evidence because the victim was under 8 years of age. Howington is guilty of what's called a Class A felony, the highest classification in the state. It carries a range of punishment, 15 to 25 years minimum in prison, according to prosecutors. Knox County Criminal Court Judge Scott Green set April 19 for sentencing. A background investigation will be conducted on Howington ahead of sentencing. Green has a range of options in how he sentences her. He could, for example, combine some of the terms and make others run consecutive to each other. Howington had been out on bond, but with the verdict, Green ordered her to be taken into immediate custody. She showed little emotion after the verdict was read and was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. Jurors began deliberating about 12:20 p.m. and had made up their minds by about 12:15 p.m. Testimony and evidence this week indicated Howington's little boy found the loaded gun in his mum's Balsam Drive home and fired it at his sister from a distance of about 2 feet. Destiny likely lived less than a minute afterwards, experts testified this week. A bullet pierced her hand, a TV remote, and then went through her chest as she lay on the couch. Friday began with closing arguments. Wow. Let's see if this has more about verdict reach. Okay.
Mr. Morgan. Martz, I understand you are the foreperson of this jury. Is that correct? Yes, sir. I understand the jury has reached a unanimous verdict as to each of the counts contained within this indictment. Is that correct? Yes, sir. If you would stand, please, sir. Ms. Allington, if you would stand and face the jury. Mr. Martz, as to the first count of this indictment charging first-degree felony murder, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, we have.
And that verdict is what, please?
The jury find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of reckless homicide.
As to the second count alleging aggravated child neglect, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
And that verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of aggravated child neglect.
As to the third count alleging aggravated child neglect, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
That verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of aggravated child neglect.
As to the fourth count alleging initiating or filing a false report to law enforcement, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
That verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of initiating a false report to the law enforcement officer.
As to the fifth count alleging tampering with evidence, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
That verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of tampering with evidence.
And as to the sixth count alleging attempted tampering with evidence, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
And that verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Allington guilty of attempted tampering with evidence.
If that is your verdict, if you would signify by raising your right hand, please. Let the record reflect all 12 hands are raised as either side wish for the court to poll this jury. All right, Ms. Allington, you may have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your hard work. You have concluded week one of your jury service. I wish I could tell you that you're done, but you're not. You've still got one more week of service. I know that we've got another case to start in here on Monday, so I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of you back on Monday morning when we're picking another jury. Have a very good weekend.
What's the other case that they got to do, and why would a jury have to do two separate cases? Is it the same woman? It's just different charges, or? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that before from a jury. Normally, the jury's ejected after the verdict. They poll the jury and then they're released. That's interesting. What's going on Monday? Let's have a look. I don't see anything. Gambler, you might know. What does it mean? Why are they coming back on Monday? Let us know, Gambler. Yeah, I can't say I'd ever heard of this one, but... Hey, Reevy. Ah, they make them do more than one trial, but it's the same group of jury. The hell? Oh, I get it. No. So they had this jury for this trial, then they come back on Monday. Do they put them back into a jury pool and then they can be selected again for another jury? Is it just because they have such a small population of people? That's weird. I've never heard of that before, where they can do like multiple juries over a couple of weeks. Wow. What county is this? Fountain City. Knox County. Let's have a look. Knox County jury. Let's see. Let's see. They have a juror handbook here. I'm trying to see if there's anything in here about multiple juries. It says here, the drawing of prospective jurors each year is completely random each year. So they draw a jury pool for the entire year. Interesting. It says here, jurors are scheduled to appear up to a maximum of 5 days over the course of 3-week period. So they can serve up to 3 weeks. Means the exact dates of each month of the month you are scheduled to go. Wow. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else about serving more than one case. Hmm. Yeah, I can't find anything specific, but interesting. It's Knoxville where I live. Well, Kathy, do you know why they have to do multiple? Like, why are they coming back on Monday? Because I've never heard of that. Maybe you know since you're a local, and maybe you've done jury duty in Knoxville. Let me know, because I'm really interested in what that means. No, I'm surprised by that too. Maybe it's for a different charge. Like maybe it's a alternate charge that wasn't included in this, like this particular run. So they have to come back on Monday and do a separate charge that she's facing. It's the only thing I can think of. So they're just going to keep the same jury because they already worked on this particular round of, uh, you know, charges. Let's see. Why are they coming back Monday? Let's see if there's anything in this article. Let's see. No, they don't really say anything. Uh-huh. No, that was for last week. It says the trial in Judge Scott Green's courtroom is expected to last all week. Yeah, that was last week. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out on Monday what that is about. But I can tell you that just like you guys, I've never heard of it. No, her sentencing isn't until April. Yeah, they're not sentencing her for a bit longer. It'll be a while longer. Yeah, April 19th is her sentencing date. No, they said in that video they're coming back on Monday to do another case. He says, "Oh, I wish I could tell you that your jury duty is finished." But he goes, "No, you'll be back here on Monday to do another case." The hell does that mean? She's facing 15 to, yeah, could be more too. They were saying that the judge doesn't have to give her consecutive or concurrent. He can actually either decide if it's consecutive, so she has to serve one after another, or he can give her combined or concurrent. So he has some options, but at a minimum, she's probably going to be in there for about 10 years. At an absolute minimum, she's probably going to be in there for 10 to 20 years. Yeah, I don't know where her kids are going to go, but did they take her other kid off her? Oh, that's interesting. The one that survived, the one who pulled the trigger, did they put that kid into state care? I'm guessing they would have, because it killed a sibling, and it was under her supervision. Let's see. All right, guys, it is real late. I think we're going to wrap up for the night. Her boyfriend. Oh, jeez. Thanks, Gambler. I appreciate it. I think we're going to wrap up. I hope this was a great late show. It is real late. It's early hours in the morning for our friends on the East Coast. I'm going to be back tomorrow for Sunday Nights with Ping. It's going to be a great show. I have a whole bunch of things to go over with you. Got a couple of documentaries. I got a few updates for older cases that we just haven't had time for recently because of big breaking news type things that have happened this week. So we've got some things to catch back up on, and it's probably going to be about a 2-hour show tomorrow night. So we've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow night. So I hope if you haven't subscribed, if you have not done that yet, please do so. And yeah, thank you to all the new subscribers, and I hope you all had a great day off yesterday. We had a great day doing grandpa stuff, so that was a good day for us and the family. So it was nice to do that and have the day off. And yeah, I will see you all tomorrow night for another episode of Sunday Nights with Ping. It's going to be called Sunday Nights with Ping Daylight Savings Edition. No, we're not going to call it that. But yeah, replay crew for tomorrow. Oh, sad Diamond Heart. Well, that's right. I'll see you on the replay crew. By the way, I wanted to read out. I'd like to read out a comment before we go. And where is this comment? A comment from people that leave things in the comment section. Where is it? I wanted to say hi, Dennis or DJ. I wanted to say, I hope you have a great time tonight at whatever you're doing, and that's why you couldn't be here. I read your email, and I appreciate that I hope you found a nice lady friend to spend the rest of the night with. Have a good night, DJ. And the other person is, I got a really sweet email from someone. I'm not going to give their name away, but they sent me an email yesterday while we were away saying that this channel helps them and they really appreciate it. And they would be missing the show for our very rare night off. So thank you to that person who sent in that email. It does mean a lot. And I'm glad you enjoy the show. So until then, until I see you all tomorrow, I love you all. Good night, everyone. See you later. Have a great night. Get some sleep. Bye bye.